Welcome to the Makisa Critical Thinking series. The purpose of this video is to help you better understand the critical thinking process of making generalizations and to help you with a way to lesson plan using concepts and generalizations. So it's important that students have opportunities to make generalizations because this will help them to better understand the content and with more depth. So let's start with some basics. So generalizations are basically a statement of the relationship between two or more concepts. And concepts are built upon facts. So here's a simple example. Let's start with some facts. The average January temperature in Milwaukee is 20.7 degrees. The average January temperature in Phoenix is 56.4 degrees. The average January temperature in Honolulu is 73.2 degrees. So we can build on these smaller facts to better understand the broader concepts of climate and geographic location. Remember, generalizations are statements of the relationships between two or more concepts. And here, climate and geographic location are the concepts. So a generalization might be, climate varies from place to place. So what we see here is an example of a concept-based instruction framework. And this is unique because most traditional curriculum is topic-based. So with traditional topic-based instruction, a teacher begins by identifying a topic and a related set of facts for students to learn. They're later assessed on their ability to recall these set of facts. With this type of instruction, there's little opportunity for students to develop an understanding of concepts or to utilize the critical thinking skill of making generalizations. So if we want students to engage in critical thinking, we have to move them to a higher level of abstraction. So instead of stopping at the factual level, we must move students towards a focus on concepts and generalizations. And so this means moving away from topic-based instruction and towards concept-based instruction. Pause the video at this time and refer to Resource 1 to find out more about concept-based instruction. As you begin planning for concept-based instruction, you may consider this 6-step process to help design your lessons. First, begin with a content standard or objective. Then identify the concepts that are explicitly stated in the standard that will add deeper meaning to the topic. Next, you may add additional concepts that may be implied or that will support the learning. Afterward, using the key concepts, you will determine the generalizations that are important for the unit or lesson. Next, it's important to double-check your generalizations to make sure that they meet the guidelines for quality. And lastly, decide upon the facts that students will need as building blocks for the identified concepts and generalizations. So let's look at an example of this process together. In step 1, we're going to choose a standard. Here we're looking at 7th grade social studies standard. In step 2, we'll identify the stated concepts. In this objective, human modification, environments, and adaptation are the stated concepts. In step 3, let's identify the implied concepts or other concepts that could be taught with this objective. So for this objective, society might be an implied concept. Other concepts that could be taught with this objective might include needs, change, deforestation, or conservation. So pause here and take a couple of minutes to try this process on your own. Use Resource 2 to record your own standard and to identify the key concepts. If you're interested in seeing a list of some common concepts, refer to Resource 3. So once you identify the concepts, you're ready for step 4. And here you're going to ask yourself, what generalizations do I want my students to uncover so that they can have a deep understanding of the subject? So let's consider some possible generalizations for this 7th grade social studies example. So one generalization could be, humans modify their environments to meet a variety of needs. Another generalization could be, human modifications change the environment and society positively or negatively. Notice that each generalization explains the relationship between two or more concepts. Pause here and write 1 or 2 generalizations for your own example. Use resource 4 to see a list of some common generalizations and also some guidelines for writing generalizations. So now that you've identified your generalizations, it's important to complete step 5 and to make sure that your generalizations are at a level 2 or higher. So let's see what we mean by levels of generalizations. If a generalization contains the words affects, impacts, influences, is, are, or have, it most likely is classified as a level 1 generalization. So here's an example. All cultures have celebrations. As you can see, level 1 generalizations lack clarity, specificity, and depth. So our goal is to have students work with at least level 2 generalizations because this is going to help them to understand the concept with more depth. And so an easy way to scaffold a level 1 generalization to a level 2 generalization is to simply ask yourself why. So let's go ahead and look at an example of how this is done. So we start with a basic generalization. All cultures have celebrations. But why? Why do all cultures have celebrations? Notice how the answer to this question leads to a level 2 generalization. Celebrations express traditions of a culture. Let's add an even deeper level of sophistication to this level 2 generalization by scaffolding up to a level 3. So a way to do this is to ask yourself, what's the significance? So in our example, what is the significance of expressing cultural traditions? The answer here leads to a level 3 generalization. Traditions help to unify a people. Pause for a moment to make sure that the generalizations you created are at a level 2 or higher. Use resource 5 for a list of verbs for level 2 and 3 generalizations. So the final step in the planning process is to identify the facts that will support the understanding of the concepts and generalizations. In concept-based instructions, facts are important, but don't stop with just the facts. Use facts as a tool to help students uncover the big ideas and to use the critical thinking process of making generalizations. Continue to use the resources and examples that we've provided as you plan lessons using concepts and generalizations. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.